friends. This is the tale of a parallel Earth, a world where, for the last 300 years, beings with extraordinary powers, metahumans, have lived side by side with ordinary people. 30 years ago, a strange vessel fell from the stars and crashed right here on our soil. Inside, a tiny infant, a child, and who, just 3 years back, would rise to become the single most powerful metahuman alive, Superman. 3 weeks ago, Superman stepped in to stop an attack, launched by the nation of Boravia against its neighbor, Jarhanpur. That act? It sparked global outrage. And just 3 hours ago, a metahuman known as the Hammer of Boravia launched a full-on assault against Superman himself. And just 3 minutes ago, Superman lost, for the very first time in his life. In pain, he let out a sharp whistle. A signal only one creature would answer. Krypto. His loyal dog came bounding through the snow, leaping, nipping, playing like nothing was wrong. Superman whispered, quiet, exhausted, "Take me home." Krypto clamped his jaws onto his master's cape, and dragged him, mile after brutal mile, all the way back to their sanctuary. The legendary Fortress of Solitude. This fortress? It only opens when it recognizes Superman's DNA. Inside, AI-powered robots lifted him gently and began emergency treatment. To calm him, they played an old video of his birth parents. In the video, they smiled and said, "You will be happy on this planet." But that wasn't the whole message. The second half, damaged during the journey. The robots bathed him in concentrated sunlight, the very source of his power. Soon, he was 83% healed, enough to return to battle. Superman flew straight back to face the Hammer of Boravia. The Hammer? Burning with revenge, furious that Superman had blocked his country's invasion. And here we learn the truth. This metahuman, he wasn't acting alone. He was being controlled by a dangerous, wealthy man, Lex Luthor. Luthor? He'd studied Superman's every move, predicted his attacks, countered them, and slammed him into the ground once again. Cut to the icy plains near the Fortress of Solitude. A female engineer, working for Luthor, had just arrived. But before she could take a step, the fortress sank back into the ice, sealed shut now to Metropolis. A man named Malagalia found Superman lying helpless. His condition? Critical. Elsewhere, Luthor and his team, celebrating. The Hammer of Boravia stepped through an interdimensional tunnel straight into Luthor's office. And there, the mask came off. The Hammer? He was actually Ultraman. Meanwhile, Clark Kent, Superman's alter ego, was back at his desk. At the Daily Planet, his adoptive parents called to congratulate him. His article? Front-page news. Lois Lane, fellow journalist, teased him. "Why does Superman always give interviews only to you?" Meanwhile, the dictator of Boravia, holding press conferences, claiming his country had good relations with the U.S., and that what Superman did? Totally wrong. Scene shifts to Lex Luthor, meeting with top U.S. officials. He showed off his metahumans, Ultraman and the engineer, boasted that if needed, he could kill Superman. Luthor painted him as a dangerous alien, meddling in politics, hinted at dark plans, even claimed Superman had a secret base and should be questioned. But the government refused, no proof. Now to Lois Lane's apartment. Here, we learn Lois and Clark, they're together, and she's known his secret and for a long time. She just likes to tease him at work. "You cannot keep interviewing yourself," she laughed. Clark shot back. "Why don't you interview me?" "Fine," she said. "Let's do it now." She asked about him stopping the war. Clark explained, "I just stopped Boravia from attacking another country. Destroyed a few tanks. Took down a couple planes. No one was seriously hurt." She pressed, "Did you even speak to Boravia's president?" "Yes," Clark said. "I took him alone out into a desert, placed him on a cactus, and told him, if you attack another nation, we meet again." Lois stared in disbelief. "So, you illegally entered a country, threatened its leader, a U.S. ally, to protect Jarhanpur, a country we don't even get along with?" Clark replied, "Jarhanpur is improving, and even if a country isn't perfect, That doesn't give anyone the right to invade it. Their talk turned into a heated debate. Lois questioned him like a journalist. Clark got irritated. Finally, Clark snapped. Why are you even asking me this? The interview fell apart. Clark grabbed his things and left. Lois muttered, I knew this wouldn't work. And she wasn't just talking about the interview. Back to Lex Luthor. He arrived at the Fortress of Solitude, this time, with Ultraman, the engineer, and his girlfriend. The fortress rose from the ice and let them in. Ultraman and the engineer fought Superman's AI robots, destroyed them, one by one. The engineer could manipulate her body's particles to fight, but mid-battle, Krypto attacked her. She trapped him inside her particle form. Luthor searched for evidence. He hated the idea of an alien as living above humanity. With the engineer's help, he recovered the damaged part of Superman's parents' message. Meanwhile, to keep Superman busy, Luthor released a kaiju monster. Within hours, it grew massive. Superman rushed to save everyone, starting with a little puppy in danger. He punched the kaiju, then flew behind it to stop it from smashing buildings. The monster fired blasts of fire, but Superman soared skyward, forcing it to aim up, away from the city. Then new heroes arrived. The Justice Gang, Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific. Superman urged them, get it out alive. But together, they attacked. Mr. Terrific used his T-spheres to blast the kaiju's heart, killing it right in the middle of the city. Superman lifted the giant body and placed it somewhere safe. He knew the Justice Gang, but he wasn't one of them. Suddenly, breaking news. Everywhere, Lex Luthor had a message. He announced they'd recovered a video from Superman's biological parents. The broadcast began. You will be happy on Earth, they said. Then, for the first time, the missing half played. The people of Earth are simple. You will easily rule over them. Take as many lives as needed. Carry forward the Kryptonian legacy. Rule without mercy. The world, shocked. They began to believe Superman wasn't here to protect them, but to conquer them. Luthor had turned everyone against him. Superman. Devastated, Green Lantern asked, Is that message real? Superman said, I only ever saw the first part. I never knew. There was more. Mr. Terrific checked. No tampering. It's completely authentic. Hearing that, Superman flew straight to the Fortress of Solitude. Now, the government finally decided to interrogate Superman. The president of Baravia spoke out even more strongly against him. After a press conference, the Baravian leader stepped through Luthor's interdimensional tunnel, straight to his lair. Everyone gathered inside a pocket dimension. And here, even Lex Luthor himself claimed the message absolutely real. Superman returned to the fortress only to find his AI robots completely destroyed. He couldn't understand how Luthor had broken in. And Krypto? Nowhere to be found. Furious, Superman went straight to Luthor's office. Where's my dog? He demanded. The media caught it all on camera. Even Peacemaker chimed in, wet with his own comments. Broken in spirit, Clark went home. Lois, already waiting. Outside, the Justice Gang battled an interdimensional creature. Clark told Lois, I never saw that entire video, only half. And I believed it meant I should help this planet. That's what I've been doing. I have no intentions of ruling anyone. Lois believed him? They patched things up. Clark admitted, I'm going to surrender. So they'll take me, wherever they've taken my dog. Lois hugged him, tight. Clark whispered, I love you, and left. Ultraman arrested him. Government officials handed Superman over to Lex Luthor. They transported him through interdimensional portals into a pocket dimension. There, Luthor introduced him to Element Man, a metahuman who could create any element. Element Man conjured kryptonite, weakening Superman instantly. Meanwhile, Baravia, preparing to launch its attack on Jarhanpur, Lois confided in Jimmy Olsen. Everyone thinks Luthor sold weapons to Baravia. That's why he doesn't want Superman to stop this war. But Baravia never even paid him in full. That means Luthor is pushing this war for some other reason. On purpose, Jimmy contacted a source, who revealed Superman was trapped inside a pocket universe. Jimmy told Lois, the story shifts back to Luthor. He was mind-controlling hordes of monkeys, flooding social media with anti-Superman hate. Krypto? Trapped in a virtual game, and in that same pocket dimension, Luthor had imprisoned all his enemies, even all his ex-girlfriends. Element Man's son also held there, which is why Element Man obeyed Luthor's every command. Jimmy's source? None other than Luthor's girlfriend, Eve. She liked Jimmy, but was too afraid and to leave Luthor. Jimmy asked her about Lex's connection to Baravia. She told him, if you can find proof, you'll know the truth. Meanwhile, Superman said to Element Man, if you remove this kryptonite, I can save your son. Element Man snapped, stay quiet. Elsewhere, Lois arrived at the Justice Gang's base. Green Lantern said, you know, Superman wears special hypo glasses, so people see his face differently, right? Yes, Lois replied. Mr. Terrific added, I know his real identity too. I put a GPS tracker in his bloodstream. Nanobots. But when he reached that place, the signal vanished. That means he's definitely inside a pocket universe. Then we need to go there, Lois insisted. But the Justice Gang refused, still mistrusting Superman because of the video. Green Lantern said, I know he didn't come here to rule Earth, but the Justice Gang isn't picking a fight with the government over this. Frustrated, Lois stormed out, only for Mr. Terrific to catch up. Come on, he said. Let's at least see where he is. He took her aboard his aircraft, headed straight to Superman's last known location. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor arrived to interrogate Superman, bringing along Malik Ali, the man who once helped him. Luthor said, answer the government's question, or I'll kill this man. He asked, who raised you? Who made you? Who you are? Superman stayed silent. Without hesitation, Luthor killed Ali. Seeing this, of Superman's eyes burned with rage. Element Man began to cry. Luthor simply said, we'll meet again tomorrow. Back outside, Mr. Terrific arrived at the location. Protecting Lois, he took down all of Luthor's people, using nothing but his T-spheres. Lois, stunned into silence, watching him fight. When Mr. Terrific examined the portal, he realized how dangerous it was. One wrong move, and the very fabric of reality could start to tear apart. Inside, Element Man, still sobbing. Will you really save my son? He asked Superman. Superman nodded. Element Man dissolved the kryptonite. Superman breathed a sigh of relief. But his strength comes from the sun. And in this pocket dimension, no sun. Just then, Mr. Terrific and Lois reached the edge of the pocket universe. But they couldn't cross over. Element Man began trying to create a sun. As he worked, everyone around them started shouting. The instant Superman regained his power, he flew to rescue Element Man's son. Then he freed Krypto. They were just about to escape when Luthor's soldiers attacked. Superman fell into a river, clutching Element Man's son. By now, the portal had been open too long. It was starting to collapse. Mr. Terrific searched for Superman with his T-spheres, but Krypto and destroyed them. Superman was being pulled toward a black hole. He called out onto Krypto for help. Element Man joined in. Superman fought the black hole's pull by blasting wind in the opposite direction as he flew. Just barely escaping, Mr. Terrific used his T-spheres to guide them to the exit. Everyone made it out safely, but Superman, badly injured. He'd need time to heal. Lois helped him into the aircraft, and when they left, back in the pocket dimension, Lex Luthor, furious at Superman's escape. He took it out on Eve. Eve secretly contacted Jimmy. I have everything we need to destroy Lex Luthor, she said. Jimmy thrilled. But nearby, Ultraman had overheard everything. He captured Eve, and all Jimmy was left with, a handful of her photographs. Lois had brought Superman to his home, where his adoptive parents lived. This was the very place where Clark had spent his entire childhood. Just then, Lois got a call, and from Jimmy, he sent her some photos. And in the background, Lois noticed some important documents. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor deliberately activated his portal. Because of overload, the portal began to tear reality itself apart. He was doing it on purpose, so Superman would be too busy handling this crisis. While war broke out, the next morning, Superman finally regained consciousness. His father told him, "This is the first time you've slept so long." Here, they talked about the message from his biological parents. His father explained, "Parents don't decide what their child will do. Your choices, your decisions, determine who you are and what you'll become." Just then, Clark saw news of the war between the two countries. Far away, Green Lantern, watching the same report. In Jarhanpur, people held Superman's flags, remembering him, their symbol of hope, was about to go help them, but Mr. Terrific contacted him, saying, "You have to come here first, and otherwise, not just Jarhanpur, Earth itself won't survive." Meanwhile, Metropolis being evacuated because the reality tear was getting worse. Back at the Daily Planet, Lois explained to her boss that Lex Luthor had made a deal with the Baravian president, offering weapons in exchange for half of Jarhanpur. After the invasion, Lex planned to take control of that half and crown himself in its ruler. In fact, everything happening right now, orchestrated and by Lex himself. After hearing this, Lois's boss gathered all the top journalists, and they boarded an aircraft with her. The dimensional rift, now splitting Metropolis in two. Lex took off in his office, which was actually a flying aircraft. One building about to collapse, and on a crowd, a woman trapped. But Superman swooped in just in time to save her. Mr. Terrific told Superman that Lex must have the code to stop all this. But suddenly, Ultraman and the Engineer attacked them. Superman fought the two, but Lex used his control over Ultraman to gain the upper hand. Lex even sent the Engineer's nanotech particles and into Superman's body, attacking him from the inside. At the same time, Lex ordered the Baravian military to attack Jarhanpur. But Superman gathered his strength, flew into the sky, trying to burn the particles out of himself. Engineer and Ultraman followed him, ready to kill him. Superman on the brink of death. But then, high above and in space, he flipped and dove at full speed toward Earth. Superman expelled the particles from his body and could finally breathe again. It was then revealed Ultraman was actually Superman's clone. But unlike the real Superman, Ultraman wasn't intelligent, dim-witted. Lex controlled his every move. Right now, Ultraman was overpowering him. Meanwhile, the Baravian army attacked Jarhanpur. A young boy stopped Superman's flag from falling. Remembering his hero, Green Lantern arrived to help, followed by Hawkgirl and Element Man. Together, they stopped the battle. Hawkgirl grabbed the Baravian president and dropped him from the sky. Seeing all this, Lex told Superman, "I'm not trying to kill you, because you stopped the war. I started that war myself, so I'd have an excuse to take your life." Ultraman attacked, firing laser beams. Superman realized he couldn't win head-on. So he called for backup, whistled for Krypto. Superman told Krypto, "Take out all the toys." Krypto destroyed Lex's cameras, one by one, cutting off his control over Ultraman. Superman defeated Ultraman. Lex sent in more soldiers, but they were nothing against Superman. Suddenly, Ultraman returned again, so Superman hurled him straight into a black hole. Mr. Terrific arrived, saying they had to close the rift. They both reached Lex Luthor's office. While Mr. Terrific worked on sealing the rift, Superman spoke to Lex. "I'm just as human as you are. I make mistakes. I get confused. I feel pain. Those things make me human." Lex replied, "Say whatever you want, but the government has ordered me to eliminate you." Just then, Krypto attacked Lex and wouldn't stop, even when Superman told him to. Mr. Terrific successfully stabilized the rift. Lex's entire plan exposed on live TV. Everyone saw he was the real villain. The Baravian War came to an end. Element Man joined the Justice League. Lex's prison emptied of its wrongfully held inmates. Lois and Superman reconciled. The Fortress of Solitude's robots repaired. And that's when Superman's cousin, Supergirl, appeared. Crypto, actually her pet. And she was the one who trained him to be so aggressive. And with that, friends, our story ends here. Drop a comment below and tell us how you liked this explanation.